Solid floor heating systems are normally used in new build situations, and they comprise of three key components: the floor panel, edge insulation, and either 15 or 18mm polybutylene barrier pipe. The solid floor heating system will be laid directly on insulation. This insulation is required to building regulations and can either be foam type insulation or polystyrene type. Please consult your building inspector to make sure you've got the correct insulation layer installed prior to the floor heating. The first thing we're going to do is to lay perimeter insulation around the edge of each room where the floor heating is going to be installed. This also splits larger rooms into areas of 40 square metres or less. The insulation is self-adhesive and will fit straight on top of the pre-installed insulation. If this is an external wall, you may also need other insulation to satisfy building regulations. It's laid with the polystyrene facing the outside wall and simply bends at 90 degrees and fits into the corner. Prior to laying the floor plates, remove the self-adhesive strip from the top of the edge insulation. This provides additional adhesion from the floor plates to the insulation. Before we start laying the floor panel, we have to realise that the floor plates are cut to 3/4 of a castellation along two edges and half a castellation along two edges. Ideally, we always want to lap a half over a 3/4, and therefore we want to start with the two half castellation edges into the first corner of the room. Simply work backwards in rows. The floor plates simply lock together along the two edges as shown. The floor panels can be cut to size using either a handsaw or a jigsaw. Alternatively, to save cutting, they can be overlapped to the nearest fit. When starting to lay the pipe, leave enough pipe for future connection to either the manifold or the ZRU, and then lay it between the castellations. Work around the perimeter of the area that the pipe circuit is going to cover. We're going to work in a spiral configuration from outside to in and back out again, as you'll see. As we're laying the pipe in a spiral configuration, we'll need to lay the second circuit of pipe at twice the finished distance we want the pipes to be. In this situation, we're going to lay them at 200mm centres, so that'll result in a pipe spacing of 100mm. If we wanted to finish with 200mm centres, we'd lay this first loop 400mm from the first circuit. When taking the pipe around a 90-degree bend, always encircle two of the castellations in the floor plate. This will guarantee that the bending radius of the pipe is always correct. When we come to the centre of the circuit, we'll need to do a return bend, and for this we'll need to encapsulate three of the castellations within the floor plate. The two return bends in the centre of each circuit create an S-bend, which allows you then to return the pipe through the gap we previously left to ensure we're laying pipes at the correct centres. These were laid at 200mm centres, and this final pipe will now complete the installation at 100mm pipe centres. When the pipe installation is complete, we need to slide some conduit pipe over the end of the barrier pipe as it enters and exits the screen, and this protects it. We also do this where pipes pass from room to room and go through an edge insulation strip. A 400mm long section of conduit pipe is cut and simply slid over the pipe so that 200mm is on either edge of the insulation strip. After testing, the floor can now be covered in a 65mm thick sand and cement screed. This needs to be left to dry naturally. Don't try and force dry it with the floor heating system. After around 28 days, the floor heating system should be able to be turned on and the screed's fully dry.